Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the fourth day of Education USA Virtual Week and Roadshow. My name is Zani, Education USA advisor from Myanmar. And in this session, we will be hearing from Dr. Carlson from Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. And today's topic is MBA in the United States. And if you are watching Facebook Live, feel free to ask questions on comment, and also here on Zoom, just type your questions in the Q&A box. Dr. Carlson, thank you so much for joining. It is very early in the morning, so we really appreciate giving this session. So, Dr. Carlson.
Thank you so much, Zarni. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And it's wonderful to be here with you today. And thank you so much, the team of Education USA in Myanmar, to invite me to give this session. It's my great pleasure to collaborate with Education USA team. My school and I specifically have been working with Education USA teams around the world. So this is a great opportunity, and really excited to be with the team in Myanmar today. For the topic today, we will focus on MBA programs, but we will touch maybe on some other programs as well. So it's a little bit bigger. We will explore graduate business education in the United States, and we will focus more on MBA programs. Just briefly about myself, I'm coming from a business background, international business. I worked in many different organizations, international companies, in the last about 15 years in leadership positions in the United States in higher education. So I will be bringing some perspectives from both business standpoint and the higher education when we are talking about the MBA programs. So the topic specifically we will explore, the questions we will explore today, the programs, Master of Business Administration, MBA programs, market trends. What do employers look for? What are employers looking for when they are hiring for certain positions and looking at MBA graduates? Target groups. We will look at some formats, curricular of MBA programs, and admissions requirements more specifically. And then I will share some insights and tips how to find the program that is the best fit for you, opportunities to consider for scholarship, financial aid, and some tools and resources. This QR code is just a quick form if you'd like to scan. It's a very quick form where I invite you to post any questions for me. You can, during the session, you are also welcome to post your questions directly in the Q&A. This is the part where you can also include your questions. But if you are thinking about some long-term questions maybe you want to ask later, you're welcome to complete this quick form, and I will be happy to stay in touch with you. Just very briefly about the organization that I am working for. It's Johns Hopkins University. It's located in the United States. The main campus is in Baltimore, that state of Maryland, very close to Washington, D.C. And just a little bit of background, because I will be using some references. The session will be focusing on MBA programs in general, not just the MBA that we are offering, but I will use some references to some of the programs or comments from my own experience at our school. So just a quick background. In our school, we offer Johns Hopkins MBA program full-time. That's a 2-year program offered full-time in Baltimore. And we have Master of Science programs, 6 of them listed here, including 4 STEM designated programs. And again, this is just a quick background. The full-time MBA program is a 2-year program, 54 credits. And we have 2 pathways: analytics, leadership and innovation, and health technology and innovation. Let's talk about an MBA program. When the MBA programs were established originally and people were pursuing MBA, the traditional MBA was a 2-year program in the United States. In the last few years, there has been a trend, developing a trend where MBA programs were designed in different formats. So when we talk about the MBA program full-time, we still think the traditional format is typically 2 years in the United States. In Europe, many business schools offer MBA that could be completed in 1 year. This is just some of the maybe traditions of how different schools design the programs differently. In the United States, we think about traditional MBA program, 2-year program, as a great program for people who are career changers. We call them career changers. What it means is that it's an opportunity for someone who had already a certain work experience. I will use one example that we see quite often. Let's say if somebody completed an engineering degree and worked as an engineer for maybe 3 years or 4 years, at some point, this person has built great expertise in their own area as an engineer. However, at some point, they also start feeling that they don't have many opportunities to get much broader experience outside of their well-defined role. At some point also, this person maybe who has worked as an engineer decides that he or she would like to move into the management path. So that would be a very common scenario for someone who has the technical, certain expertise. It doesn't have to be engineering, obviously. Certain expertise where they decide either to prepare themselves to move toward the management and leadership path, or they would like to expand their expertise and build some complementary skills that will be adding to their expertise, maybe beyond their original area of focus. Sometimes also, again, in engineering specifically or technical background, people find it very difficult to switch to another industry. So let's say if somebody worked again as an engineer, maybe at some point they would like maybe to move more into, I don't know, digital marketing, let's say, or some other area. And people typically find it very difficult to switch from one industry to another. So the traditional 2-year MBA program is a great way for someone who would like to switch to another industry that will help them to build more skills, knowledge, cover different maybe sectors or examples from different sectors. And during the traditional 2-year MBA program, you are typically expected to do the internship in the summer after the first year. Again, this is a great opportunity to try and find internship opportunity in the sector you are interested in. That will help you build some connections, build some network, and test a little bit what exactly you would like to do moving forward. That's the traditional MBA in the United States. It also gives you 2 years, give you enough time to take courses, work on some exciting projects. Many MBA programs offer experiential learning projects, including our program. There are some opportunities maybe to travel, to participate in big career fairs, especially for MBA students that are happening typically in the fall and in the spring during the year. So all of these are great opportunities for people who plan to switch to another sector, build some additional skills, additional expertise, and want to have a full MBA experience. There are other types of programs that I would like to mention. There is a 1-year MBA. Again, in Europe, you could probably easily find many business schools that are offering MBA as a 1-year program. In the United States, there are some business schools that started offering 1-year MBA as well. It's structured and defined a little bit different from the 2-year MBA. 1-year MBA program is often designed as a specific program for people who work maybe at a certain company. So there is maybe an agreement between the company or several companies and the school that these people from those companies will arrive for just 1 year because the company does not want them to leave the company for much longer. And the students also do not want to leave the company completely. They would like to get more knowledge, build some more leadership skills, and bring this knowledge back to the company within 1 year. Typically, this type of arrangements for 1-year MBA, schools expect people to have more work experience. And to make it work in 1 year, they expect that the students maybe already have an advanced degree. Maybe sometimes they already have master's degree in some field. So they will be able to count certain credits toward their MBA. So that's the 1-year MBA. Typically, this is for students who do not want to leave their company, and company may give them a leave of absence, some sort of format, vacation leave for 1 year, and they will be expected to return to their own company, to the same position or a different position, whatever their arrangement is. So this is not for career changers. It's for people who have more work experience. They are not looking for a longer experience in the MBA program. They are not looking necessarily to try internship, to switch to another career, another field. They want to enhance their skills and knowledge and come back to their company. Part-time MBA is a very popular format as well. Many schools, including my school, offer part-time MBA program that is for people who work full-time, do not want to leave their job, and they take classes in the evening or on the weekend. That's typically local students. So since we are today meeting with many people who are based in Myanmar, most of you will be applying to a full-time program. Part-time is only option for local students. And lastly, we have the online MBA. Online MBA can be completed fully online. That's a great opportunity. You will receive the same degree. And for the online MBA, it typically takes about 3 years to complete the program because it's a part-time option. You will be taking courses and possibly continuing your full-time work. So these are the main formats of types of the MBA program. I'll mention quickly also specialized masters. What we have noticed that recently in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, there has been a great increase of people applying to specialized master's programs. And very often people ask this question: how do I decide whether I need to apply to an MBA program or specialized master's? So for this reason, I wanted to quickly mention what does it mean, the specialized master's programs, how is it helpful, how to look at this type of opportunities. So specialized master's programs are specialized in one area, and I included some examples below. For example, it could be a Master of Science in Finance, clearly focused on finance. It could be business analytics and risk management and some others. The Master of Science programs are typically shorter. Use an example in my school, MBA program, full-time 2-year MBA program requires 54 academic credits to complete it and get the degree, receive a degree. Specialized masters students are required to complete 36 credits. So there is a significant difference in terms of the number of credits and the time you would allocate for your studies. So MS program takes a shorter period of time, just 1 year. In our school, all programs are designed as 1 year, and it's specialized. So you will take some basic blocks foundations courses, but it's a small number of foundations courses. And then you go more in depth in your area of specialization, such as listed here: finance, information systems, marketing, and so on. So some of the trends in business education. In the last 10 years, we have seen the growth in the number of international applicants. That's true for both MBA applicants and master's programs. We definitely see the growth to specialized master's programs. In Asia, the whole big area that we can define as Asia, a very large number of people is taking now GMAT exam. So that's a good sign for business schools, meaning that many applicants are interested. In terms of the specialized masters, we see very popular programs such as MS Finance, Business Analytics, and Accounting. These are 3 programs that are most popular and attracting a lot of applications. There is another program that is becoming maybe an alternative to MBA programs that's called either Master of International Management or Master of Management. So that's just a little bit about the trends that we see. So let's talk about employers' demands. What do employers expect to see and what they would like to see in MBA graduates? This is the data from GMAC. That's the organization that manages GMAT exam. And you can see some hiring projections. And that's the data for 2009 until 2018, covering 10 years by region, by the world regions. United States, the MBA hiring is maybe remaining on the same level, but we have seen maybe a little bit lower because there is more competition from graduates of other programs, not just MBA. The same similar trend we can see in Europe. However, in Asia and Pacific region, we can see actually growth, and we expect it to be going in the same direction. We also learned that more than 9 in 10 Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies and publicly traded companies plan to hire recent graduates. And that's from the Corporate Recruiter Survey 2018 and similar data we have from 2019. If some of you are interested in looking at other master's programs, not necessarily MBA, this is an interesting data showing the talent, master's talent, business master's talent that employers want to recruit. This is data from 2018, and it remains to be somewhat similar in 2019 as well. And you can see the top fields are information systems, marketing, supply chain, economics, and some others. What is interesting when we compare MBA opportunities when they are hired by employers and opportunities for specialized masters, we can see, especially in the lower part of the slide here, you can see the difference is typically MBA are seen as more better positioned to be involved in strategy work. So if you're interested in something that is setting up strategy for the company and working on the strategy, building and execution, it's more likely that you will be involved in this type of work if you have an MBA versus people who have specialized masters or master in management will be expected to work more on the operational side. These are some of the job functions in which employers plan to place recent graduates. And you can see some of the top fields, such as business development, data analytics, marketing, finance, accounting. That's where a demand is, top job functions. So whether you are planning to pursue an MBA or specialized master's programs, this data helps you to see where the demand is, the highest level of demand. So how can you select the right program for you, for yourself? My recommendation would be focus on your career goal. You will want to evaluate all of the factors related to your career. Do you plan to stay in the same industry where you have already been working? Or do you want to switch? And if you want to switch, why? You really want to think a little bit more thoroughly and being able to articulate to yourself, why do you want this switch? You also want to be able to articulate your short-term goals and long-term career goals. Very often when we interview MBA applicants, we would ask this question, why do you think this is the right time for you to do the MBA and why? Why do you want to do the MBA? So I would recommend think through these questions first on your own and be able to articulate it. Depends on your career goals. You may be able to consider several different programs. A quick example that I included here. If you want to work as a program manager and build more expertise in project management or program management, and that's the skill that will be transferable from industry to industry. So it has broader application. The MBA would probably be the right type of program for you. MBA will help you build those building blocks, understand operations, understand strategy, marketing, finance, build certain knowledge on all of those different components, different functions of the organization. So you will be able to see the organization from a higher viewpoint, to see the whole organization, how it's developing, and what are some of the interconnectedness and interdependencies of all these functions within the organization. If someone is interested to build their career purely in finance, financial services sector, that's all I'm interested in. And in addition to my master's degree, I also want to maybe get a CFA exam, complete all CFA levels later and get the CFA designation. Then my question would be, do you really need an MBA? Or is MS in finance would be the right path for you? So that's how I would suggest for you to think about your career goals and what is the right program for you. Think about the program as a vehicle. It's the vehicle that will help you to get from where you are today toward your career goal. And that should help you really better understand and answer this question, what is the right program in terms of the academic fit and career fit with your career goals. Then you want to research requirements for positions that you aspire to have after graduation. So it's a very good exercise. If you haven't done it, I would strongly recommend spend some time on this. So think about 5 years from now, where do you want to be? And it doesn't mean that it has to be exactly what you are doing today. Think a little bit maybe more broadly, and be a little bit more ambitious to think really what would be your aspirational job and the aspirational companies. So if you look at it this way, you would be able to find several examples, let's say 5, the jobs that you would love to have, would love to do maybe 5 years from now. And look at the job requirements. That will really help you to see what are the gaps that you currently have between your current experience and education, and how to get to that type of job. It will also help you understand for this type of job and these employers that you are interested in, what is the program education that they are requiring? Do they require MBA? Is MBA going to be helpful? Some companies for certain positions specifically require MBA. We work with several employers who have MBA internship as a pathway to get the internship first, and then if you do really well in the internship, you likely or potentially will get a job offer to return and come as a full-time employee. So there are certain paths and training programs. Some companies also have a 2-year MBA leadership training program rotation, where an MBA applicant or MBA graduate would rotate throughout the company for 2 years, and then they will stay with one of the specific functions. So there are some companies that define it specifically. There are certain paths for MBA graduates. And for other companies, the MBA will probably have the same level, how they are reacting to MBA versus some other master's degree. There are some companies that will specifically require master's level program, master's level degree, whether it's an MBA or specialized masters. So all of this will be very helpful if you identify at least 5 jobs that you would like to have after you complete your degree. And then look at the MBA programs that you would like to apply to and determine your eligibility. You would look at the minimum criteria, minimum requirements. Some programs define it very specifically, and in some other programs, they don't put minimum requirements, and you will be evaluated in comparison to other applicants who applied. Then you would want to evaluate length of the program. As we were discussing, the full-time 2-year program in the United States would mean that if you are based in Myanmar, you would need to leave the company that you're working for, maybe leave your family for a couple of years. What does it mean for you professionally, financially, personally? These are all good factors that are worth evaluating. And from a financial standpoint, of course, you would want to evaluate, tuition, housing, travel, and other costs. Academic factors, if you decide MBA is the right program for me, then I would recommend look specifically at the several schools and at their programs. Explore the program curricula, look at the specialization or concentrations that they offer. Are there specific courses that you find very attractive, and why? These are all very good questions to explore, because if you apply and if you are invited to the MBA interview, most likely you will be asked all these questions. Why did you select our program? What are the courses that you found most helpful and relevant to your interests? So these are all very good questions for you to explore. Look at the graduation rate, look at the employment data, very helpful to find the MBA employment report after graduation. Look at the career services and advising. For MBA applicants, it's very helpful to go to the school that has a very well-developed career development center. In some schools, it's called career services. In our school, it's called career development center. Just as an example, in our school, we have close to 20 people who are working at the career development office. Some of them work as employer relations specialists. They build relationships with employers. They try to attract more employers who would come to the school to interview our applicants, our students who post their jobs. They share their jobs openings, their internship program, their leadership development programs, and we post all these opportunities in our internal network that students have access to. Other part of our career development office are coaches. We call them career coach. And so each student has an opportunity to work with a career coach individually to shape their career goals understand how the industry they're interested in, and understand how they will be working to find a job, prepare for the interview, and close all of these questions with a potential employer. In the United States, when we talk about the good, good opportunity to find the best program, we say, is it the right fit for you? And I found that with many international students, it's a little bit of a challenge to explain what is the right fit. What does that mean? So to find the best fit for you, I would recommend look at the programs and see what are the majors or concentrations that you are interested in. Do these programs offer the courses, specializations that you are interested in? For example, maybe you want to build more knowledge in consulting or prepare yourself for consulting industry. In our school, for example, we have the consulting network where we bring all resources, faculty who have some knowledge of consulting or teach consulting courses. We have alumni who work in consulting industry. We bring employers from consulting. So we bring them all together and we call the network. And we have several such networks. In other schools, you may find specifically consulting concentration. In some schools, you may also find the consulting project that you will be working on. So that's just a quick example. But also look at the university or campus environment that you will be based in. Some students are interested in living in a certain geographical area. Let's say they are more interested in information technology or something to do with the technology, digital transformation, and they are interested in to be based in California, let's say. For my school, we have two locations in Baltimore and Washington, D.C., and they're very close to each other. And many students are attracted by an opportunity to be based in Washington, D.C. for some programs, let's say, because it's the nation's capital, and a lot of international organizations such as World Bank, IMF, are based in Washington, D.C. So think about these factors such as geographical area. What are the great areas where you are expecting to find internship and job? And there is a lot of data you can explore. It's all publicly available to see which are great areas for MBA applicants, especially for MBA job search after the MBA degree, and where you can expect maybe to be more successful in terms of job search. So there are many different components there that I would definitely recommend you to explore. Let's talk a little bit about application process and how to build a winning application. In the application, I would recommend to definitely talk about your work experience. When you build your resume, include your work experience, everything that you've done to highlight how much work experience you have. You can include full-time. If you don't have that much work experience, you can also include part-time work experience or internship. If you have more years of work experience, 5, 7, 8, at some point, it may be not important to include internship. However, if you only have maybe 1 year of work experience full-time, it may be helpful to include internship that you previously had. So think a little bit more strategically about the work experience. Understand the how you can meet minimum requirements. In most programs, there is specific minimum requirements for TOEFL or IELTS. In most MBA programs in the United States, TOEFL is required, and most programs, most business schools will accept either TOEFL or IELTS. Just as an example, in our MBA program, we expect to see TOEFL 100 and above and IELTS 7 and above. Most business schools in the United States will require GMAT. We also accept GRE, and that's true for most of the business schools as well. If you're not sure from the information posted on the website about a specific school, I would suggest give a call to the admissions officer at the school you're interested in, or send them an email and ask specifically if they will accept GRE instead of GMAT. In my experience, most business schools will accept either GMAT or GRE, and there is no preference. Very often, schools do not set a specific minimum requirement for GMAT or GRE. So if you're not sure whether your GMAT score is great or maybe needs to be improved, The great way to understand it is to ask or find information on the website about previous classes, maybe from the previous 1-2 years, and see what is the average. What was the average score, GMAT or GRE score, that this MBA program can tell you about? And the average score can give you, good guidance whether your GMAT score is going to be competitive or if it makes sense to retake. We talked about your career goals already. So the career goals should help you identify the right program and being able to articulate why this is the program that provides a great fit for you. So in your application, it would be very helpful and important for you to talk about it through different parts of the application to demonstrate why this specific program is the great fit for you. And another question that you would like to answer throughout the whole application, especially in the essay part or personal statement: what makes you the best applicant? In the MBA program, we pay a lot of attention to each individual applicant. Many programs are smaller size. For example, some MBA programs you will find only have 40 or 50 applicants, students. Total number of students will be about 40, 50, maybe 60. So it's still a small size. In our school, if we receive 60 or 70 students, we split them into 2 groups. We call them different cohorts, 2 cohorts. So you are often going to be part of the small group of 30, 40 students, let's say, in the group. That means that each MBA student will bring something valuable to the discussion, to the table. It's really important. So think about it, how you can demonstrate in your application what are the values, the specific skills, expertise you will bring to MBA program. We talked about the resume, and the letter of recommendation is a great way for you to ask somebody who knows you quite well, preferably from your company, maybe your current leader, current manager, or previous one, to give you a letter of recommendation and talk about specific ways how you brought some value to the organization, maybe about your ability to innovate, your ability to be creative, great problem solving skills, whatever it is that is relevant in your case. It would be great to see some specific examples in the letter of recommendation. Admissions requirements, we already reviewed some of them, and I will just go through this quickly. This is an example from my school. However, it's very relevant to most of other MBA programs. I would recommend, again, look at each program that you are planning to apply to and review what are their application requirements. Most of them will be similar, but it's possible that some of them will be slightly different or significantly different. Typically, you will need to provide the resume, submit the resume. Transcripts for international applicants, we ask you to work with the credential evaluation agency, such as WES, World Evaluation Services. And you can look at it online. There is a lot of information available. All you need to do is send your transcript to them, and they will be doing credential evaluation report and send them directly to the school. So the transcript or credential evaluation agency who will be evaluating a transcript, that's an important piece. A resume, we talked about letter of recommendation, we talked about GMAT and GRE. Some schools may be able to provide a waiver. So if you are interested to explore this, I would recommend talk to the admissions office and ask them if they are willing to give you a waiver. Many schools will not, including our school. We do not offer GMAT GRE waivers to the full-time applicants. TOEFL and IELTS are typically required, same for my school. And in our school, we also conduct video interview for full-time programs, and also when it's possible, in-person interview. Also in-person is a little bit more challenging these days, but typically we conduct the interview with MBA applicants. And I wanted to share with you just a quick video. I will see if I can switch to the video quickly, if it's possible. Okay, just 1 second. Just 1 second. All right, I'm trying to switch. Okay, I think I was able to make it work. All right. Zarni, you wanted to say something? Are we doing okay with the timing?
Yes, we have about 5 minutes until the Q&A, so
Perfect. I think we are right on track. Just very quickly, maybe when you analyze, look at the programs and see what is exciting, what is interesting for you in those programs. This is just a quick example, a lot of information that you can find here. And there is just a quick video I wanted to show you to give a sense of a very quick glance of seeing whether this is the program that gives you the right message, something where you feel excited about the program. So let's see if it's going to work. And that's from our website. Okay, I'm going to go back to my slides. That's here. So that was just a quick example of some videos that you're able to find in to learn about the program that gives you a certain message. So in this example that I was showing you, the strong messages that we want to send to our applicants is if you're interested in innovation and data-driven approach to problem solving. So a lot of content that we changed in our MBA program is now focused on data and analytical skills. And that's somewhat similar that you will see across many business programs now. Strong focus on data, because anything that you are going to do in any business organization, anything business role, a lot of it is now depends on data and ability to understand data, collect data, analyze data, and how all this analysis will help you drive better business decisions. So you will see many MBA programs are becoming more, building more and more skills related to data, technology, incorporated technology, and analytical skills. Let's talk briefly about tuition, scholarships, and financial aid. One thing that I find very important for international students is to understand that in the United States, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities. However, it's not always clear before you apply, because many schools, including my school, will consider all applicants for scholarship. However, without seeing your application, we really cannot comment. We really cannot promise that you will be the best applicant. So I would encourage you to apply to any schools that you find your maybe dream school, or you're really excited about. I would encourage you not to be afraid. Explore and learn more about the scholarship opportunities. And if you think that this is a great fit for you, go ahead and apply. Sometimes international students are concerned if they don't hear upfront that the school could guarantee the scholarship, they will not be applying. And that just doesn't work this way. We first need to see the application in order to be able to evaluate and see whether this applicant is going to be a strong applicant or not. So this is just one component, of course, scholarship. Hopefully you will be qualified and be able to receive it. Other things you would want also to look at in general, that's an important question about the financial component, look at the tuition. There are schools that have, maybe public schools have different levels of tuition in state for people who are based in the same state, out of state, coming from another school, and often they have a different tuition fees for international students. Private schools don't have such separation. It's just one level of tuition, whether you are in-state, out-of-state, or international. And there are also required fees, housing, meals, some other expenses. So all of these are important questions to consider. Some of the examples of scholarships, when you talk to the school, the program that you're applying to, try to understand if the scholarships that they have are merit-based or need-based. And some schools will clearly define, most schools will have it clearly explained on their website. An example for my school, it's merit-based. That means that all of the students, applicants who are applying will be considered for scholarship, but we will be looking at the best of the best. So it's all based on their merit. Scholarships could be internal within the school. We will be able to offer some scholarships. There are also some organizations, companies, and international and national scholarship programs that I would encourage you to explore further. Some of them are listed here, and there are more resources available publicly. So how many programs do you need to select? Really, it's up to you. We typically hear from applicants that they apply to at least 3 schools, sometimes more than 3, maybe 3 to 5. So really depends on the time you're willing to allocate and your strategy. Some of the common advice that you may hear somewhere, that it's how you think about the schools. You find the school that could be described as a match school is where you think you have a relatively good chance to be admitted based on your application, based on your scores, your work experience, all of the components, where you expect a very good chance you will be admitted. Then you will have maybe a dream school that will be a little bit of maybe a stretch, and you're not sure that they will be able to give you an admissions offer. And safety school, where you think you are quite confident and your credentials maybe exceed the expectations or requirements of that school. So this is one way to think about, how you can think about your strategy. So some tips and recommendations, and then we will be moving on to the questions and answers. So try to get a lot of information about the university that you are interested in, the school. Typically, it's a business school that offers an MBA program, and specifically the MBA program. So sort of 3 levels. Do your research, spend more time on your research. Develop a very good strategy. Don't be afraid to apply to some dream schools or rich schools, but also have a good list of other schools such as match and safety schools and programs. When people look at all of the MBA programs in the United States, they often rely on rankings. That may be helpful to some extent, but I would advise not to rely on rankings only. Learn more about the school specifically, learn more about the program, ask the admissions office if there is a chance for you to talk to the alums, some alumni from this program. You can also find some alumni on LinkedIn. Again, that's your own research. This is publicly available information. Look at the alumni of this school and see what they're doing. Do they have the jobs that you are interested in finding in the future? Don't rule out the programs just because of cost. As we talked briefly about the scholarship opportunities, there are financial aid options and scholarships available. And typically the MBA is, it's going to be maybe an expensive, relatively expensive journey. And so consider it as an investment in your future. And this is my contact information. You are absolutely welcome to send me a note at any time if you are interested to learn more. I welcome your questions and comments at any time now or later. And now we will have some questions and answers.
Thank you, Dr. Carlson. We have some few questions in our chat box. One question is, these days we are seeing a lot of accelerated MBA programs that allow undergrads to do additional year and get an MBA. So do you know how employers view this accelerated degree? Is it preferable to get work experience first?
That's a great question. That's true. We see more and more business schools that now attract undergraduate students who would go to their MBA or sometimes master's program directly. And receive the MBA program maybe, as you mentioned, even in 1 year. It could be a challenge. It depends on many factors. So it may depend on the individual case. What is this person, planning to do? What are their goals after graduation? There are both pros and cons there, I could see. For an individual who is planning to go directly from the undergraduate program directly to an MBA, I could see that, it saves some time. Instead of stopping, finishing your education, then going to work, sometimes it's challenging to stop your work, leave the company and go back into being a student. And that's a little bit of a challenge that we see with many MBA applicants, especially who are more senior, maybe have more work experience. It's a little bit of a challenge for them to go back into the role of a student mode. So in that sense, these younger students coming directly from undergrad, they find it easier to adjust. They often are doing really well academically because they're going straight from one coursework to the next coursework. They haven't forgotten anything. From the employer standpoint, there could be some challenges because most employers still want to see some work experience. So for someone who has completed their 4 years of bachelor's program and then completed an MBA directly after undergrad and have not done anything, hasn't received any substantial work experience, it is possible that it will be still a challenge. So it's really, it's an individual case by case that you would need to evaluate and decide what do you plan to do, what is the value of this degree, how you will apply it. And so there is some value in the MBA as an experience and a credential. It's possible that some employers will recognize this value, and maybe these applicants will do really, really well with their job search and application and interview process. It's possible. In general, the students who are coming to the MBA program are expected to bring their experience and great insights in the conversation. A lot of the work that you do in the MBA program is around discussion, debate, teamwork. And so each person will contribute something, bring some value to the program. So typically we see that people who have at least 2 or 3 years of work experience or a little bit more would be great fit for the MBA program because they already learned about at least one industry. They have some industry experience. They already have had a chance maybe to work with other departments within the organization. They have seen some different functions, how they work together. They have experienced some dynamics, team dynamics, how you make the team work. So they can bring all of these great insights in the conversation in the MBA program. Some MBA programs have a very strict requirement that they do not accept applicants who have less than 2 years experience. That's the logic there. In general, for most of the traditional 2-year MBA program, the average work experience is about 5 years of work experience average. So that gives you, a message, gives you a sense of the average typical applicant. So these are some both pros and cons of doing the MBA directly from undergraduate program. And again, many MBA programs will not offer this option. It's a great question though.
Thank you. Another question we have is, if I want to get an MBA because I do not like my field, line of work, should I be that honest in the application?
I would probably recommend this is completely fine to think about it. Maybe you started doing some job in the field that you just don't feel excited about. Some people just find a certain type of job too slow. Maybe you are a high energy person and you learn that the field in which you are working now, it's just the pace is not the right pace for you. It's possible. Some people are numbers people. They love working with numbers, and some other people really want to be more involved in the conversation, more, interaction with others. It's reasonable and completely fine that first few years, maybe you're still exploring, you're learning about yourself as well. What would be important though for you to think about what would be your ideal job. So let's say you're not satisfied with your job, you are not super excited about the field of work that you are doing or your industry. Try to think about it a little bit more as an exploration. Try to find what would be the right field for you and why. What would be your ideal job? And then from there, start from there. Find it. What is it that you are aspiring to be, maybe in the next 3-5 years, and start from there. What are the requirements for this type of job? Find people who are doing this job in the field that you would be excited to be. Talk to them, interview them, and see what is their level of education. Maybe you don't need an MBA. Maybe you need to have a slightly different strategy. Maybe MBA will be helpful for you. So start from there, from your ideal job or ideal field that you want to be, and move, back several steps to figure out, is the MBA the right strategy and why? I don't see anything wrong really with this question, but in the application, you probably want to think and talk a little bit more about your career goal. What is your passion? What is your aspiration? Why are you excited about a certain field or job or function or industry, whatever it is that drives you to work toward your MBA? So think about it, sort of turn it around. Instead of thinking I'm moving away from something I'm not happy about, how you can position it that I am moving toward something that I want to achieve.
Thank you. We have a really quick question. Does Johns Hopkins accept Duolingo in place of TOEFL or IELTS?
Great question. Right now, we are not accepting this other test, Duolingo. I know that many other schools started accepting it. Right now, we are accepting TOEFL and IELTS. But please keep checking. If we do move into this direction, it will be posted on our website right away.
Thank you, Dr. Carlson. This is all the time we have. And again, I really appreciate your great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, for all the students who are tuning in from Zoom and Facebook Live, we will have a 10 minutes break. And after that, we will have another session on LLM. So if you are interested in going to law school in the United States, please join the next session by University of Nevada in Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and best of luck to all of you, and wishing you all the best. Thank you for having me today.